Hello, hello. Welcome back to Nobody Told Me This, the channel where we lift the veil on corporate and professional inside info and make it available to everyone. Today we are talking about something that pretty much everyone experiences at some point, and that is hitting a wall. It's the feeling where the motivation is just gone. And whether it's you personally or your whole team, something changes and now everything feels harder than it should. Um, Despite what you might think, feeling demotivated is not a personal failing. It's actually an epidemic right now, and I'm going to talk about some data that backs up that claim here in a second. Um, Gallup's most recent State of the Global Workplace report found that global employee engagement dropped to just 21% in 2024, which is the most recent data available. Only 21% of employees feel engaged in their work. That's the lowest number it's been since the pandemic, and that is a dreadful number. Here in the US, we are scoring slightly better than the global average. We're still only reporting that 31% of employees feel engaged while at work. So while we're scoring higher than the global average at 31%, that's still a 10-year low for the US. So we're not doing so hot over here either. Considering that information, if you're a leader looking around at your team or organization thinking, why does nobody seem to care right now? You're not imagining it. Most people don't care right now. And it's not just your team. It's not just you. It's happening everywhere. But here's the thing that really got my attention in that Gallup poll. The engagement decline wasn't just in individual contributors. Manager engagement is also dropping, which means that the people responsible for keeping teams motivated are they themselves running low on motivation. And that's a problem that will compound really quickly. When demotivation is being shown from the top down, the people who are down never have a chance. If the top's not motivated, the bottom won't be either. So today, I'm going to give you some practical tips to tell you what you can actually do to help this situation. Regardless of whether you're an individual contributor trying to restart your own motivation and drive, or if you're a leader trying to re-energize a team that's seemingly asleep at the wheel, there will be something in this video that will be able to help. So we're going to start with individual motivation, and I'm going to start with you personally, personally, God, I can't talk today, with you personally, because I think self-motivation gets skipped a lot, and you can't motivate others when you're not motivated. It's the whole you can't pour from an empty cup thing. So leaders especially often feel like they're not allowed to be the demotivated one in the room. But guess what? Sometimes, for a variety of reasons, leaders are and can be demotivated. This section doesn't just apply to leaders, but I wanted to point out that plenty of leaders are demotivated. So if you are in that role and you're feeling that way, you're not alone. But going back, we'll refer to this section as individual motivation, and we'll keep moving forward here. But so first things first, if you personally are feeling demotivated, first thing you need to do is ask yourself, am I leaving something or am I moving towards something? And what I mean by that is a lot of demotivation at the individual level comes from a feeling of being ready to move on from where you currently are. You might be in a role that made sense to you 2 years ago that doesn't fit with where you're headed anymore. Or you might be chasing something like a salary or a title without a real understanding of what you're actually building toward. So before you try to fix your energy or your team's energy, you have to understand where you are, your why, not the company's why, but your own. Like, what does showing up and doing the work actually mean to you right now? If you can't answer that, that's the first thing you need to work on. The other thing I'll say is that small wins matter more than you realize when motivation is tanking. Don't wait until a big project succeeds or a promotion comes through. You have to find something that you can actually finish this week and then finish it. Unfortunately, momentum is self-generating. You need some momentum, some motivation to get going. But fortunately, once you get going, it adds up quickly. You just need a little start in order to get a lot in return. So set yourself an easy goal, give yourself a small win, and kickstart your motivation journey again. So that's a little bit for individual motivation. Now we're going to get into like the real meat of the video, and that is motivating a team. So for this section, I'm going to draw on a 2025 article from the Harvard Business Review written by Allison Meister and Ina Togel. I think that's how you say her name, I'm guessing. I thought their article provided some really good practical advice and insight into motivating a team. So I'm really using that as a base for this content here. So they talk about what they call a team relaunch in their article. And their argument is that most leadership skips this completely. When something goes off the rails a bit with their team, whether it's a reorg, an internal team conflict, a stretch of poor performance, whatever it is, most leaders tend to either just ignore it and just push forward like nothing's wrong, or they jump straight into fixing things without actually diagnosing or identifying what went wrong what went wrong first. So here are the 6 steps or tips that Meister and Togel recommend for a team relaunch. And step 1 is diagnose before you act. And that sounds obvious, but seriously, almost nobody does it. Before you change anything, you need to understand what's actually going on. Is your team unclear on its priorities? Is there a trust issue brewing? Did a recent change affect the team's dynamic in a way that like maybe you didn't anticipate? It could be any or none of these specific things, but whatever it is for your team, you have to identify it before you can try to fix it. The authors of this article give an example of a leader who assumed that his team wasn't motivated because they had just gotten complacent. It turns out the actual problem, courtesy of an anonymous company survey that we all love, revealed that the people on the team actually just felt overlooked and undervalued after the company had made a change in their reporting structure. The real reason for the lack of motivation was a totally different issue than what the manager had assumed it was, which means that the solution to the issue is totally different than what the manager would have done had he continued under his original assumption. And then nothing would have gotten fixed because the solution implemented didn't match the problem that existed. So the point is, don't prescribe before you can describe. Don't prescribe a fix before you can describe the problem. So diagnose before you act. Step 1. Easy, don't ignore it. It's super important. Second step or tip is to rebuild trust. If a team has been through a rough time, trust within the team has probably been negatively affected. And the thing about trust, and I'm sure many of you have experienced this in your personal lives, is that it doesn't automatically just come back when a rough patch is over. You really have to be intentional about rebuilding trust. One of the ways you can do this is creating a space for people where they feel comfortable actually saying how they're doing. It can't be like a performative check-in thing. It has to be a real one, which means you as a leader have to be willing to be vulnerable yourself. You have to share with your team what you learned from the rough patch. Acknowledge what you would like maybe do differently next time. Tell them how you feel about it. People can't and won't open up to you if you're not willing to go first. You as the leader have to model the behavior that you want to see from your team. That's the first way to rebuild the trust. So tip three, get aligned on where you're headed. And this one catches a lot of leaders, managers, people in authority positions off guard because they assume that everyone on the team is already aligned on the vision and the goals, but they're usually wrong about it. People will sit there and nod along in team meetings, but that doesn't mean they understand and are aligned with what's actually being said. What usually happens is that people, instead of asking for clarification, will just fill in the gaps with their own assumptions about what's being said. You as the leader, manager, whoever, you need to make the implicit explicit. You have to say what you mean. What does success look like? Tell your team that. What are like 2 or 3 outcomes that are super important right now? Tell your team what they are. Where is the team headed and why does it matter? Freaking tell them. Don't just assume people know or they're going to be able to tell from what you're saying. You have to say it out loud. You have to be clear. It's the only way you're going to get alignment. Tip 4, clarify how you all work together as a team. Demotivation often comes about as a result of like friction from unclear role responsibilities, confusing decision-making processes, or meetings that take up half the day with nothing to show for it. The HBR article that I'm using as the basis for this video gives an example where they talk about a team that literally spent their entire work days in meetings and had no time for their actual work. Once they got more specific about who on the team needed to be in which meetings and why, their work quality improved dramatically because they understood what their roles were and their responsibilities were on the team. This step is about creating a structure that supports people instead of just grinding them down. And if people feel ground down, the motivation is going to go right out the window. This is so important. The fifth tip, whatever you want to call it, build momentum with small wins. Touched on this earlier in the video. As a leader, you cannot wait for some big transformation to announce itself in order to find something to celebrate. Come up with some kind of achievable goal for your team that they can accomplish within the next 30 days. Then once you achieve it, celebrate it. Recognize the people who were involved in it and be specific and genuine with your recognition. Both positive and negative energy are contagious. So build the positive energy with the small wins. Celebrating the small things also helps to build confidence that the bigger things, the bigger goals are actually possible. And then finally, the last step, tip, whatever, keep adjusting. And this is one that so many people just let fall by the wayside. A reset, a relaunch, it's not a one-time thing. It's not set it and forget it kind of event. You have to check in on whether the new norms that you're building are actually sticking, whether people's roles are still clear, whether the team's needs have shifted at all, whether other issues have popped up. Build a regular cadence for these adjustment check-ins so an issue doesn't catch you off guard next time. Remember, picking them up early can prevent them from spiraling out of control. Ultimately, here's what I want you to be able to take away from this content. Demotivation, whether it's yours or your team's, is not a character flaw. It's a signal that something needs your attention. And the leaders and individuals who get good at reading that signal early are the ones who can prevent it from exploding. Whether you're an individual needing to rediscover your direction, or the leader of a team that's just really struggling right now, you have more levers to pull for help than you think. You just have to be willing to slow down enough to pull the right levers. And if you need any help identifying those levers, that's what I'm here for. I mention this in every video. I offer career and leadership skills coaching, as well as leadership and team building consulting for small businesses. If you think you might need a little help in this area, feel free to book a discovery call through the link in my show notes. I'm more than happy to see if we would be the right fit to help you. If this video was helpful for you, subscribe and leave a comment below. I would love to know, what's the thing that tends to drain your motivation the most? Work stuff, business stuff, personal stuff, all of it's fair game, and all of it plays a role in each part of our lives. So thank you for joining me today. I hope you found the content helpful, and I will see you in the next one, where I'll discuss how you can professionally and effectively disagree with someone in the workplace without making it weird. So thanks again, and we'll see you next time. Bye.